Hello, my name is Jimmy and welcome to the 2024 Hyundai Kona Electric. Here's what you have to know. Here in Canada, there's only a single powertrain, a 64.8 kilowatt hour battery powering the motor on the front, making 201 horsepower and 188 pound-feet of torque. Range, we're looking at 420 kilometers or about 261 miles. And all this starts at about 49,000 Canadian dollars, but as equipped here, it's just under 54,000 Canadian. The biggest question though is, why choose this over the Ioniq 5? The Ioniq 5 is like an award winner. Why did Hyundai even bother with this? Doesn't really make sense at first until you start to dive into the details because, well, the Kona, yes, it's smaller, but you don't lose out too much on that practicality. You still get a decent sized trunk at 26 cubic feet, and that's not any smaller than the regular gas version. And just like the gas version, the tonneau cover, you can put it just right against the back seat, and the false floor, you can drop it down a little bit to increase that cargo space. So it's actually still very well thought out. The only place where you lose a little bit of space on the interior is, well, the back seats. Not in terms of headroom, that's still good. The legroom, you just get a little bit less as the floor is a little bit shallower than the regular gas version. But that's really it. And just like the gas model of the Kona, unfortunately, you don't get vents back here. However, you do get a pair of USB-C charge ports, so at least there's that. As for the front seats here, they're heated and cooled, so they're quite comfortable, and you get a two-way lumbar support. The material, it's not real leather, it's that pleather stuff that most EVs are using, and it's absolutely fine. And in front of me, your typical Hyundai steering wheel. Nothing wrong with it. You got all the buttons that you have, and behind that you do get a full digital cluster, and that does change depending on drive modes. There's a little bit of customization within it, but you know what? It's actually a relatively legible cluster. The blacks are actually quite dark, and well, the numbers are easily legible. What more do you need in a cluster? You also get a heads-up display, so you do get all that information up there. And it's not like the previous Kona's heads-up display, not a flappy plastic plexiglass thing. This is a full-on heads-up display that projects onto that front windshield. In the center, you do get your widescreen infotainment. You do get wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. Love it. And you get all the other things like navigation, Sirius XM, all that good stuff. This being the top trim, you do get a better audio system with more speakers, but no matter the trim, you still get these dedicated buttons here with a dedicated volume knob, so you're not missing out on that. And you get your climate control right underneath that, and it is a dual zone with a driver only mode if you're commuting, well, with just by yourself. It's good. The center console, it's actually very well thought out. I actually really love these hideaway cup holders, so we don't need them. You can just put them away, carry whatever you need. You got your heated seat controls right in the front. And above that, you get your Qi wireless charger with this grippy pad, so you can just throw your phone on and not have to worry about your phone flying all over the place when you turn a corner. It seems that only Hyundai and Kia knows how to make a Qi wireless charger that doesn't make your phone fly off. I mean, Mercedes has that arm thing, but that's just, well, it's not as easy to use, and that arm gets in the way. It's just a little bit fussy. This just works well. Sure, the interior, I mean, yeah, you do get cheaper plastics on this side, and that's fine. Where you will touch, like the armrests and whatnot, they're all nice and soft touch. So for the price of the vehicle, I don't think there's too many complaints here. On the road, well, the Kona is actually very pleasant. It's actually very soft, it's very comfortable, and it's actually quite quiet as well. Unlike some other EVs out there where it just doesn't handle the weight as well, where they put stiffer springs for a sportier ride and to, of course, handle the weight of the additional batteries, Hyundai didn't do that. They still make this a very soft riding vehicle. And because of that, it's decently comfortable. The only thing is when you throw it into a corner, or if you're asking a little bit more than what the suspension can really do, the vehicle just kind of wallows a little bit. It's not the vehicle that's designed for a sportier type drive, but for every day, it's actually very good for that. And that's actually what the Kona is for. It's a city EV. Sure, it doesn't have the range of the Ioniq 5, but with this powertrain and what it kind of offers as a package, smaller wheelbase for better maneuverability, it's just easier to park and easier to live with. And that's why this exists in the lineup. Hyundai looked at it as, sure, if you want something bigger, if you want to go a little bit further, here's the Ioniq 5, here's the Ioniq 6. But if you're driving in the town and you don't really need that additional range, well, here's a Kona EV. And it's no slouch. The powertrain with just 201 horsepower is still relatively quick. Put that foot down and it does still push me back a decent way. And if the ground is wet, well, you can spin the front tires endlessly. Sure, it's probably not the way that most people would drive their Kona, but it's kind of fun. Introducing power understeer. That's exactly what this vehicle gives you when, well, it's wet. Luckily, today is dry, so I don't have to worry too much about that. Overall, I like the Kona. I do. The regular gasoline Kona, the only problem I had with it was just the price point. However, I feel like for the EV version, it's actually decently suited when comparing to its cousins like the Ioniq 5, Ioniq 6. It does make sense. And I think what Hyundai is trying to do here is they just want to give you, well, another opportunity to drive their vehicle. Instead of just having bigger, larger vehicles that everyone would love, here's something a little bit smaller. But they did make this bigger than before, which I do appreciate because of those back seats. In any case, thank you so much for watching this video. Like the video if you do, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll catch you next time. Take care.